Hello everyone, it's Oscar at the Virtual Factualer here. This video will be a bit shorter than you're used to from me because it's just a small thing that came up. Originally the footage that you see right now was recorded for a video response on TikTok, but that got taken down, so I figured I'll just share the gist of it over here. Basically, people were asking whether I could take the sequence of cuts and thrusts that I got from the sword section of the Do Your Fight book and do it in armor. As it happens, I have a very good set of infantry armor that is very representative of what a Landsknecht with a Greatsword will be wearing around the year 1515. It weighs about 11 kilos and I quite regularly train and spar in it. In previous experiments, I found that the protection offered by such half armor is actually reasonably good. You are a lot more protected wearing it, but does it hinder your fighting in any way? Some people seem to think so, to the point that commenters were suggesting that Landsknechten did not wear armor for this reason. So I decided to do that same sequence in armor and compare them. So let's have a look at both of these sequences simultaneously. Right, let's slow that down and look a little bit closer. On the first round, you may have noticed that it's almost the same video. Points for consistency there, Oscar. In slow motion, you see that the initial part of the sequence goes quite well in armor. I keep up with myself quite admirably, I have to say. Only in the last part do you see that I slow down a bit. Especially turning around and loading up the thrust, you see that I need to stabilize for a second before delivering it. I feel that this may be fatigue kicking in, but on the whole, I think that the sequence is still pretty neat. So what makes this work? First reason is of course well-fitted armor. A lot of cheaper armor reproductions are poorly proportioned to begin with and don't fit really well, meaning they'll create severe discomfort while moving in it. This set, on the other hand, has been made by the combined efforts of Radoslav the Armorer and my own DIYing, meaning that it fits me really well. Regardless, even the best armor will still get in the way a little bit, so you'll find that I've also picked movements specifically to mitigate that. While cutting upwards, I cut with the long edge from my right side and the short edge from the left. This avoids crossing the hands too much, which would be really hard in the breastplate. When cutting from above and thrusting, you may notice that I engage the whole body, meaning that I created the needed range of motion from hip turns rather than from my now somewhat more limited arm movements. So using a combination of techniques that aren't hampered as much by armor and increasing the range of motion, you can fight with a greatsword in half armor quite easily. But really, why should we care? This conclusion shouldn't surprise an awful lot of people, to be honest. Most will be quite aware that armor was made to fight in and also requires the wearer to remain mobile. Well, knowing that wearing armor doesn't hinder certain movements is pretty neat to me, because it gives us an indication that those techniques might have been intended with a use in a military context in mind. Compare this sequence from Durer's fight book, for instance, to this play from the Goliath fight book. The former I can easily do in my armor as demonstrated, whereas I would probably have some more issues doing the latter. It requires me to stretch out my arms quite a lot, which would cause quite a bit of discomfort from the armholes in my breastplate. A lot of other plays from that same manuscript also require crossed hands in front of the body, which would be a real problem with the arm plates and also with the globular shape of that breastplate. So the sword pieces from Durer's fight book could theoretically be used in a military context, while the ones from the Goliath fight book probably wouldn't, or at least not all of them. This makes wearing armor some sort of a litmus test. Can't do a technique in armor? Then it probably wasn't intended to be used in a military context. And that to me is pretty cool, because it is yet another new insight into the fight books and their historical context that I got from training and fighting in my half armor. And that is simply just cool.